Welcome back to Healing Old Wounds. In this episode, we explore the complex connection between body, mind, and fear. The way early trauma continues to shape adolescence, relationship, and the quiet battles fought within. Please listen with care and compassion. At 13 years old and in 7th grade, my world began shifting again. One afternoon I was visiting my friend Jamila at her house when a sharp pain struck the lower right side of my belly. It grew worse until I was vomiting and shaking. My father rushed me to the hospital where doctors said my appendix was about to burst. They operated immediately and thankfully the surgery was successful. After the stitches were removed, I was released to rest at home. During this time, my family's stories continued to unfold. My brother Hakeem, now an American citizen, divorced his wife and abandoned his children as he chased a reckless life. He was spending most of his time and money at the casino. He must have had some serious emotional issues that I was not aware of, since he left my life when I was very young. My father, tired of supporting him, finally cut him off financially. Ahmad had dropped out of school, but married an American woman to remain in the country, and started a small Arabic radio station broadcasting music and news for the Arab community. It earned little, but he persisted. My grandparents were still living with us, growing older and frailer each day. Their presence was comforting, but also a reminder of time passing. Inside me, a different kind of change was happening. My body was growing into that of a young girl on the edge of womanhood, but my mind felt stuck at a much earlier age, at a time when my world had been shaken in ways I didn't yet understand. Nothing at school or home prepared me for the changes happening inside me. There was no guidance, no books or television programs to explain what was happening. Everyone around me was consumed by their own struggles, and I felt lost and alone. The physical, mental, and emotional weight from those early years followed me into adolescence. At 13, the feelings were still sharp and immediate, as if no time has passed at all. Memories and sensations lived quietly inside me, always close. Impossible to ignore. Muna had her second baby boy. She taught herself to sew as an escape from her difficult marriage. She poured her creativity into making beautiful dresses for her daughter, then for friends and neighbours and paying customers. My brother Omar is graduating this year. He will also be leaving the country to join the older siblings. I was never close to any of my older siblings since there was such a large age gap, but I was close to Omar and Saad. They were my playing mates when we were little. My mother's sadness sits heavy in the house after losing her only brother to cancer. He was her only family. I remember her crying herself to sleep after losing her father, the sole provider. My cousin, who was my best friend, and her family had to move away to a more affordable area. I don't see or talk to my cousin anymore. Another door closed. Some early mornings I would lie awake in my bed, frozen under the covers, sensing the tension in our bedroom before I even understood what it meant. I could hear my mother and father whispered arguments, my mother pleading softly, and the heaviness of a situation no child should witness. I stayed still, barely breathing, afraid to make a sound. I needed to get up for school, to use the bathroom, to start my day, but I had to wait until the bedroom became quiet again. Those mornings brought back everything I carried inside. The fear, the confusion, the sadness, the pressure of responsibilities too heavy for a child. I wanted to help my mother to reach out, but I was too frightened to move or speak. When it was finally safe for me to get up and use the bathroom, I felt sick to my stomach, followed by endless vomiting that left me weak and trembling. My appetite disappeared. Sleep became another battle. Nightmare and night sweats woke me up almost nightly. I was tired a lot. My energy faded. I became nothing but skin and bone. People would ask if I was okay. I wanted so much to tell them. No, I was not. I wanted to say, please help me understand what was happening. But instead I would smile and say I was fine. Those fears lived inside me. Bedrooms became my jail. I hated being in any bedroom. To my little mind, bedrooms represented hurts, fears, secrets, and emotional struggle for years and years. In a bedroom, that little 6-year-old girl had lost her laughter and her innocence. My isolation was unbearable. I hated my dark, fearful, painful life. Going to school was a heavy burden. I stayed home sick a lot. And honestly, no one cared if I quit school altogether. The last couple of months of that school year I stayed home, with no intention of ever going back. Staying home had backfired on me. I was lonelier and more miserable, so I went back to school the next year and repeated 7th grade just to get out of the house. Happiness was hard to come by. I felt numb. My colourful life when I was little is now grey. Life does not wait for anyone or anything. Days turn into nights and weeks turn into months. Life moves on. I am 16 years old in 9th grade. Saad is 18 years old and will be graduating this year. Omar left the country. My mother's sadness is at its peak now. She lost her only brother and now her favourite son has left. Muna now has 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. Her marriage grew worse and her sadness became dangerous. During summer break, I went over to her house to stay a couple of nights and help a little with the children. One evening, as we were in the completely fenced patio having dinner, Muna asked me to grab the baby bottle from the fridge. As I walked into the kitchen, I noticed the back door was wide open. I didn't think much of it at the time. As I opened the fridge to grab the bottle, the light from the fridge shined on a dark figure holding a large knife coming out of the pantry. I screamed and ran to the front patio where Muna and the children were. A moment later I learned that the boy standing there was the same troubled kid Muna had befriended. He had come only to intimidate me, knowing I never liked him. That day I begged my sister to end the friendship, and from that moment on, I never returned to her house again. My father masked his unhappy life with alcohol. My grandfather passed away, and my grandmother, who I loved dearly, had moved out to live with her sister. Now there were only 4 people left in the house, yet I'm still sharing a room with my mother, even though we had empty rooms now. Maybe because she didn't trust me or my brother Saad, or maybe in her own quiet way she needed me close. Perhaps she used my presence as a kind of shield, hoping with me in the same room my father would stay away, but he didn't. Saad had graduated. Ahmad prepared his paperwork so he can join the older siblings abroad. My father, as instructed by Ahmed, bought Saad a one-way flight ticket to Turkey. His visa would be waiting for him at the embassy. Saad was gone. Weeks went by without hearing from him. He went missing. My mother's panic grew louder. She visited psychics and coffee cup readers. Some said he was alive, others told her he was dead. Then dark cloud and the endless crying at home added more fear and hopelessness. The house felt like it was shrinking. Every corner echoed with silence. Every room carried a memory I wanted to forget. I watched my mother move through the days like a shadow, her eyes searching for something that wasn't there. I tried to be strong for her, but I was still just a frightened girl trying to understand a world that never made sense. Nights were the hardest, when the world went quiet and all I could hear was my own heartbeat reminding me that I was still here, still surviving.